Well, guys, it seems far too often that we have to talk about and discuss and make videos about senseless violence and death that's happening all across our country and stuff. And I'm sure that you guys, most of you by now, you know, it's after work now. It's like 6:30 or 7 o'clock when I'm making this video. It'll probably be 9 or 10 by the time I get it uploaded. So you'll probably already have the lowdown on what happened today, what took place, and why I'm so upset. Earlier today at around 1:30 my time, they announced on the news that Charlie Kirk was shot at an event in Utah, and he was in critical condition. So I was like, what? What in the hell? He was shot? So I went in, you know, I heard that on the radio. So I went inside, turned the computer on, started looking it up. And of course, they didn't have a whole lot of information at that point. They just knew he was in the hospital in critical condition, you know, and I was like, oh my God, man, I really like Charlie Kirk. I mean, I'm not saying that I agreed 100% with him. There were some things about Israel and stuff like that I wasn't a big fan of, the way he was portraying that. But I mean, like 99% of the stuff the guy said, I agreed with. He seemed to be, just based on what I saw portrayed in the media, okay, he seemed to be genuinely a decent dude, okay, a good guy. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like we can't afford to lose too many more good guys. I mean, it sort of seems like the evil has taken a big hold in this country. I mean, when you've got people, you know, I know you guys remember, I'm not going to rehash everything, but there are examples like Maxine Waters and AOC and several leftists, mostly more so during the last administration, but they were calling, you know, for violence. They were calling for, you know, it was, what would you say? It was, like a subliminal call to violence. It wasn't a direct call to violence. It was, you know, it was shrouded in, you know, their speak or whatever, their language, right? But they, you know, if you were a leftist, you knew what they meant when they said these things, when they said get in their face, when they said, you know, don't let them be comfortable at a restaurant, go up and scream at them, get in their face about this stuff. This is what they meant, okay? You leftists have a lot to answer for. For years and years, you have refused to debate and have open conversations and open dialogue and cordial debate. Instead, you go to name calling, screaming, yelling, and then when that doesn't work, you move on to violence. And, you know, there's different levels of violence, obviously, and, you know, what happened today to Mr. Charlie Kirk is the most extreme, worst case scenario, because there's no undoing that. You know, I watched the video. I'm not going to show you guys the video because, you know, YouTube obviously won't allow it, but I was able to see, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say able to, I had to watch it because I respected this guy, you know, and I wanted to see what he was saying in his last words. And, you know, I will say this about this man, Charlie Kirk was a patriot, a real American patriot. He probably did more to help Trump get elected than any other single individual that I can name, okay? I mean, the guy, again, instrumental in the reason that we're in the situation we're in right now, and things were starting to turn around. And this whole deal, this whole tragedy, and of course, I should say this, I'm sorry, I'm assuming you guys already know everything, but at this point in the day, it's now 7 o'clock. At this point in the day, they have announced that Charlie Kirk is dead. He didn't make it. They shot him right in one of the main arteries, right in the neck. And I'll just kind of quickly reproduce basically what happened. He was talking to someone, answering a question that had been asked about the transgender shooters. Some people are speculating that somehow the person that asked the question was in on it, because right at the same time, that's when he answered the question. He was just about to finish and put a period on the end of it. And all of a sudden you hear a crack and blood starts spurting out of, let's see, was it at least if the camera didn't have the angle flipped, it looked like he was shot on the left side of the neck. And I mean, it was spurting out a big, when I saw that, I thought, he ain't going to make it. He ain't going to make it. You don't lose that much blood that quickly without your heart freaking out. And everybody around freaked out, and panicked and screaming and fleeing the scene and stuff. And someone should have been running over there. And I don't know, maybe his security did, but someone should have ran over and immediately put pressure on that. And they did try to get him to the hospital, but there's some things like that you just can't survive, and of course, in typical fashion, the liberals are out in force, not only blaming Charlie Kirk for the actions of most likely one of their leftist activists, their communist brown shirts, because that's what they do. They stir the hornet's nest until one of the craziest hornets goes ahead and goes out and does some crazy shit like this. That's what they do. This is the fruit of the Democrat labor. When you poison the well like they have done for years and years, and you refuse to debate, and you call the other person a name because they have a different opinion than you, because, racist, sexist, homophobe, misogynist, whatever, you name it, this is the result. You end up with people that actually believe Charlie Kirk was a Nazi, or was Hitler, or was whatever you want to say, the most evil racist in the world, or whatever, the most evil misogynist, homophobe in the world. I don't know what this person's motives were, but I guarantee you one thing. This person was a leftist. No doubt about it. He was a communist brown shirt. I've talked about these people ad nauseum here on the channel until I'm blue in the face, trying to get people to pay attention to this. And just be aware of it, be alert to it. There's really not a whole lot you can do unless the moment is happening right in front of you, And I don't know if I should do this or not. I don't know if I should conflate these two stories or not, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about it because I've been thinking a lot about something the past few days. I wanted to ask you guys a question. What kind of American are you? Or what kind of a man are you? Or what kind of a woman are you if you're one of the few women that watch my channel? But mainly, what kind of American are you? Are you the kind of American that when, a Ukrainian refugee, an attractive young 23-year-old female blonde is sitting there after her long day of working at some pizzeria or whatever on the public transportation, are you the kind of person that sits there in the chair next to her and allows her to get stabbed in the fucking neck until she bleeds out and dies? Or are you the kind of person that jumps up and intervenes and steps in and stops something like that from happening? And I'm not thinking, I'm not sitting here thinking I'm some Billy badass that could take on anybody that's twice my size or whatever, or, more powerful than me. But, if it came down to something like that, I wouldn't give a fuck, okay? If you could stop something like that and save someone's life, man, that is like one of the most powerful, humane things you could possibly do. And when I see videos like I saw of that woman being stabbed in North Carolina, and everyone on the train sitting there, you could see in some of them, some people were fearful and afraid. One black woman was kind of like over in the corner like this, and then another black guy that was right next to the guy was just looking at him no, you don't sit there and look at him. You stomp that motherfucker's ass, and you let the courts deal with it on the back end. You stomp that motherfucker's ass. You don't let this shit go on in the United States of America, because that could be you. That could be your wife. That could be your daughter. And I've just seen this over and over, this repeated. I don't know what's wrong with us, man. I mean, it's just, especially in public transit and in major metropolitan Democrat-controlled cesspool cities, communist fucking cesspools. In those places, yeah, that's where you see this the most. Some guy will be dying on the side of the fucking road and everybody's just walking by, and maybe even some of them might be recording it, but no one picks up their phone and calls 911 or goes over and asks the guy if he needs any help or anything. That's inhumane. It makes me think we're losing our humanity. So back to Charlie Kirk. Again, I thought he was a great guy. I thought he was the most likely person to be able to step into who I think was the greatest talk show host of all time, Rush Limbaugh. I think Rush Limbaugh was the greatest of all time, and I think Charlie Kirk could have easily stepped into that role and done a really fine job. He might have been the next Rush Limbaugh if he was allowed to live long enough. But see, the left knows that. And, people say, a lot of leftists are saying, and I can't remember the one guy's name, but some commie scumbag leftist that used to run MSNBC or whatever, he was saying that, Charlie deserved this. He was asking for it by going and having these provocative conversations and stuff. No. You should not be able to be triggered to the point where you're going to fucking shoot somebody because you disagree with their political ideology. How about you go down there and have a debate with them and you tell them why they're wrong and why your ideas are right? No, I'll tell you why that doesn't happen. Is because the left knows that their ideas, their ideology is a loser. There's nothing, when you dissect all of these different things, whether it's abortion, LGBTQ for everyone, the fucking communization of our public education system, any of these things that you think about, socialized medicine or anything else like that, it's all the same bullshit. So it's a sad day. I'm angry. When I came home from work today, my wife was already crying. She was upset about it. She was crying. And I ain't going to lie, when I heard about him being dead, I shed a tear earlier today too, because it just seems like there's not enough good guys out there anymore, and gals, okay? There's just not enough good people out there. And instead, what we see is the worst of people. And Charlie Kirk was one of those good dudes, I think. Again, was he perfect? No, he had some problems, I'm sure. He probably was a sinner. We all are. But he seemed to be a good Christian. And I got to remember, someone like that, he's actually in a better place than we are now. It's the living that have to deal with it. The people, all the people that loved him and followed him and looked forward, and including me, man. I looked forward to watching. I didn't watch all of them because it was a little monotonous, okay? But, if he went to a local school that was nearby me, I wanted to know what these local college kids were thinking and saying and stuff. It was a way to see the other side and to have open dialogue. He bridged that gap where other people have failed. He was able to do it and have, and it wasn't that people, all these leftists loved him. You could hear the hatred and the vitriol in many of their questions as they came up there and tried to get him with gotcha questions. And, he did a lot, man, for the youth, and he will be missed. But I want to read some of these headlines here because a lot more developments have happened since I was out at work today and I came home, so I thought we'd go over some of this together and talk about it. My prayers for Charlie Kirk's family and for Charlie Kirk. He will be missed. And what we should do as patriots and people that admired him and loved the work that he was doing is we should try to pick up that torch, and carry it on and try to do the right thing. Try to be good people. Try to, and see, this is one of the things that is different from me versus Charlie Kirk. I've thought about doing man on the street things before and going out and talking to people, but the difference is that Charlie Kirk had a way about him that he didn't get angry when he heard, or he didn't let it be shown that he was getting angry when these people were intentionally trying to anger him. And see, the difference is I will get angry. If somebody starts saying some shit that I know is just completely, unfactual or incorrect and could be disproven, then I'll get mad about that if they're pushing that as fact, right? And Kirk had this ability to go in there and talk to people on the other side, which is very uncommon today. So let's get into some of these news stories, and again, I've thought about this. I've thought, should I go out and interview some people out in the colleges and just see what's going on? But I guarantee you, I'm less likely to do that now. Something else occurred to me when I was driving home today. For the last at least 200, maybe 225 years, there has only been one party, one political party, that has always been behind the violence. Whether it's killing Lincoln or the slave stuff or the KKK or any of these other things that you hear about throughout the years, it's always been the Democrats. And yet somehow the people that they oppress the most with those kinds of crazy racist views and things like that, I mean legitimately racist viewpoints, they vote for them. It makes no sense. Makes no sense. Kind of like the senseless killing of an American patriot, an American hero, I might even say. You know, if it weren't for Charlie Kirk, we might be looking at Kamala Harris right now. So God bless you, Charlie Kirk. Your work was incredible. I've thought about emulating some of that myself. But again, I don't think I have the temperament. I'd probably get too angry and agitated, and it wouldn't go as smoothly as it went for you. But yeah, you will be missed, man. And I'll miss, coming on. Even when I just see the guy now, when I'm scrolling through the pages and I just see his image, man, it just brings sadness onto me, because I know that is a great voice that we'll never get to hear again, taken away from us by some evil fucking communist. Probably, most likely, I'm 99% sure it's a Democrat. And, if you didn't hear earlier today, the Democrats actually, right after it first happened, one of the MSM talking heads was trying to say, oh, it was an exuberant audience member that pulled out their pistol and just started shooting up in the air. Bull fucking shit. That never happens. Okay? It never happens. So anyway, let's get into some of these headlines. Apparently, according to Kash Patel, they have a guy in custody that they think is the suspect. They think is the shooter. And that's good news. New low. Katie Tur's MSNBC guest downplays Charlie Kirk shooting, blames conservatives. We don't know if this was a supporter shooting off his gun in a celebration. So that's what I was just talking about. So stupid. John Solomon at The Real American Voice. Charlie Kirk is dead at 31. God rest his soul. 31 years old. Think about how much more great work he could have done. And, he's got a family, and I think he's got a newborn or newish born child. There was a reaction from President Trump. Of course, he's upset about it because he knew Charlie Kirk. Let's see here. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker blames Trump and January 6th for Charlie Kirk assassination. They're already calling, I don't know if I'll get into any of these headlines here, but the left talking heads are already calling for a ban on guns. You're not going to hear one person on the right calling for a ban on guns, okay? No one's calling for a ban on guns except retarded communists that want you disarmed, want you helpless, so that you can be shot in the fucking neck, just like Charlie Kirk, and killed, laid out in front of everybody, in front of a bunch of school kids. Imagine all those kids that went there to support someone, or maybe not even, maybe they weren't supporters. They went there with an open mind to hear some different points of view, and suddenly the guy that's trying to give that point of view gets shot in the fucking neck. Just in, President Trump signs a proclamation honoring the memory of Charlie Kirk, and he orders the flags to be flown at half-staff. That's a good thing, but it doesn't bring Charlie back. It's Argentinian President Javier Milei responds to Charlie's assassination. The left is always, at all times and everywhere, a violent phenomenon full of hatred, and he's absolutely right. They're powered by evil, man. They're powered by Satan. The Utah governor confirms political assassination of Charlie Kirk, says, we still have the death penalty here in Utah. we will hold you accountable to the furthest extent of the law. And not only that, Utah, as far as I know, is the only state in the nation, in the entire nation, that still has, or just reinstated recently, firing squad. So seems fitting, seems appropriate to me. There's a good chance that this guy, if they have the right guy and they find out for sure it was him, that he could get the death penalty by firing squad. Representative Jason Chaffetz, who attended the event, reveals Charlie Kirk's final words were about love, prayer, and Jesus Christ. So, I mean, even up to the end, that's what I wanted to say a minute ago. The guy went out with his fucking microphone in his hand like a boss, man, like a real man. He went out and took the shot in the neck, and you could tell it was over right then. He couldn't even really react or respond. He just leaned over and slumped down. And the top page of the Drudge Report, I'm not sure if I'll show this or not, but, you know, Drudge lost its way a long time ago. The Drudge Report lost its way a long time ago. They hate fucking Donald Trump. They hate him, okay? And ever since Donald Trump came onto the scene, the Drudge Report has been moving more and more and more left. And the picture that they had at the top of the Drudge Report, it was inappropriate. They shouldn't have put that picture up there. There was a time when you couldn't see any of this kind of stuff. And maybe we should get back to that, because there are sick motherfuckers out there that will get off on this, watching blood spurt out of someone's neck. And they'll be like, oh, I want to go do that and reproduce that. So, some headlines from the Drudge. 31-year-old was the latest victim of political violence across America. Kirk was being asked a question about mass shootings. They left this part out, about transgender mass shootings. And that's why people are speculating that the person that asked the question was somehow in on it with the shooter. I don't know. It could have just been a coincidence, but they say he was murdered from 200 yards away. Well, you know, I'm a shooter, and, you know, a lot of people are saying, well, this must have been a sharpshooter or a sniper or something like that. No, not necessarily. A 200-yard shot is not that hard. Even with a hunting rifle, you don't need a special fucking sniper rifle to hit something at 200 yards. I mean, honestly, I'm pretty decent at 200 yards with a 30-30 with iron sights. So if you had a scope and you had a 270 or a 7mm, hunting rifle or something like that, anything like that would have gotten this job done fairly easily. Witnesses were describing lax security measures at event. Well, here's one thing I will say about that. This Utah town where this happened, this college where it happened, has never been heard of. No one knows the name of this college except for kids that went to this college, okay, and people in that town. No one else. I mean, it's not like some big known university, okay? So, and it's in Utah. It's in one of the least violent places there is. They don't even hardly ever have murders in this town or this area, much less assassinations. But that's exactly why this was premeditated. I'm sure of it. They're going to find out that this person had been planning this for a while and had been watching Charlie Kirk and watching what he does during these events, and found a place that they could get up on a roof somewhere or a tower and shoot this person. The House floor erupts in chaos after moment of silence. So I'm going to click on that one because I didn't see that earlier. Why was it chaotic? Republican, let's see. Mike Johnson held a moment of silence for conservative activist Charlie Kirk, who was fatally shot Wednesday at an event in Utah Valley University. Utah Valley University. That's why none of us have ever heard of this place. Let's see here. Johnson announced to reporters before heading to the House floor that he would be holding a moment of silence for Kirk. Immediately following this moment of silence, Lauren Boebert asked for a prayer to be read, and she was met by Democrats yelling no. They won't even let them. They don't even want them to pray because, these are demons, okay? And it's like throwing holy water on a fucking vampire or something. When you start saying prayers around demons, they get upset about it. They don't want to hear it. But yeah. Unbelievable. Kirk shot dead in Utah, Turning Point, USA. And they've got a graphic video. And honestly, I don't recommend you watch it, to be honest with you. You really shouldn't watch it. It's a terrible video. It's only like 10 seconds long, and it's just basically what I already described. He's sitting there talking, doing one of his normal debates, and from out of nowhere, a coward from 200 yards away shoots him in the fucking neck. There's a headline here on the Drudge. I haven't read it yet, and I'm not going to read it because it's on the Drudge, and I don't really trust the Drudge report anymore. But they claim the FBI is botching the investigation. I don't know. It's so early, I doubt that that's the case. Back over to the Gateway Pundit. Kash Patel is saying, suspect has been taken into custody in Charlie Kirk assassination, has been released after interrogation. So there were apparently two suspects. Greg Gutfield goes nuclear on live TV after Charlie Kirk assassination. He drops an F-bomb on Fox. He says, you woke us the fuck up. I don't know. I don't know what he was referring to. If he's referring to this shooting event, waking him up, or Charlie Kirk. If he was saying, Charlie Kirk, you woke us the fuck up, he's absolutely right. Charlie Kirk did a whole lot to bring a lot of people out to vote for Trump last time around. And they've got some new footage showing an individual running across the roof of Low C Center moments after Charlie Kirk assassination. So that's probably the guy. There's a picture where it looks like they're laying down prone, and there's another picture where it looks like they're standing up running across the roof. So now, I just want to speak from my heart about it. You know, there was something else I kind of held back on. You know, a lot of people have asked me throughout the years. You know, I've been making videos here on YouTube since 2018. And when I started out, I was just doing hands-on, how-to, DIY type videos, nothing political. And then the COVID came on, and I felt like I had to say something to wake people up, to help get people out of their slumber, right? And it's been detrimental to my channel. It's been bad for my channel. It was good for a little while, and then it got bad because apparently YouTube, you know, and other Google and other censors out there decided that they didn't want certain information out. You guys remember all that, you know, and I've been fighting this for a long time. And again, I did think about going out and doing some of these man on the street interviews and just, you know, and being more open and telling people my name and telling people where I live and telling people more personal things about me and my situation. But then I see things like this, and it reaffirms exactly the reason why I want to stay as anonymous as humanly possible on the internet. Anonymity is extremely important for this very reason. I'm sure I have said enough contentious stuff over the years that there are people out there that would love to put a bullet in my head or my neck, right? And so that's why I don't, and I never will, unless things change. I never will give you guys my location. I'm at an undisclosed location for this very reason, because, you know, and it's not because I'm a coward. It's because I don't want to invite unnecessary risk and danger onto my family and to myself. Charlie Kirk was taking a big chance, but he was making bold, big moves and big progress because of those big chances he was willing to take. And not everybody has that, especially these days. Most people are, I think, they're just cowards. They're like, you know, like the vast majority of people are just like NPCs or soulless creatures that you can't get through to them no matter how hard you try. It's a really sad day, guys. I don't want to just go on and on about it. There's a lot of really bad stuff. I'm sure over the next few days, a lot of new information is going to come out. You know, there'll be a lot of breaking news. Very sad. I'm very angry. I'm sad and angry at the same time. I wish we could go back to a more cordial society where we could discuss our problems in an open forum, you know, without yelling and name calling and cussing and all that sort of stuff. That's what we have to get back to. Or else this grand experiment in liberty and freedom, it may not make it. So anyway, guys, this has been a real bummer for me. My wife's really upset. She was a huge fan of Kirk, and I was a pretty big fan of Kirk, you know, and who's going to fill his shoes? That's the question. What kind of American are you? Are you the kind that will stand up and take the risk and put it out there? Like, I mean, again, you could say, maybe you could say I'm a coward because I don't want to put my name out there like Kirk did. He was certainly brave for doing that. But in the end, that bravery cost him his life. Scary times to be alive right now. Scary times indeed. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Let me know what you think. Do you have any theories on what happened? How this, you know, how this all could have happened? Was it a leftist? Was it, you know, some right-wing guy celebrating and shooting his pistol up? Have you ever fucking seen that? Have you ever seen a right-winger at some event like Charlie Kirk just start going, woohoo? No. It doesn't happen. That only happens in like Muslim countries, like when they're getting married or something, or when they're declaring a jihad. I've said it many times. We are at an impasse here. There's like a clash of ideologies, sort of like a clash of civilizations. It's what happens when, you know, an immovable object gets hit by an unstoppable force. And we're rapidly approaching that. And it appears to me that the Democrats are all too willing to take it to the violent level rather than have discussions and discourse. Anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I appreciate you tuning in. God bless you. And God bless the United States. God bless Charlie Kirk and his family. God, Lord, please accept him into your kingdom and protect the remaining patriots out there that are brave enough to speak out against open communism, because that's what these people are pushing for. I stand for liberty to the bitter end. And so did Charlie Kirk. I hope you do too.